January the 13th, 2026. Guys, very short video, and I was waiting for some response from our president in D.C. about some of the things that have been going on. They've had state after state, I think maybe 26 states that have refused to turn in their voter rolls and to see if it's a legitimate vote, other things like that. And you've seen the protests from city to city, everything anti-American you can name, we've seen it. Now, Trump has announced this afternoon, feds will halt any payment to sanctuary cities starting February the 1st. Today's January the 13th. So just in over 2 weeks, at about 2 weeks, it's over. And guys, that is knocking or cutting the head off the snake at the maximum point. And it needs to happen. When you see all the conflict, you see all the protest against ICE, you see all of that, you see all the fraud going on, how would it stop? And my only comment has been for several months would be the Insurrection Act. And probably this is what this is leading to, because there's going to be so many, like I said, over 20, maybe 26 states that really throw a hissy fit over this. They throw a carrot and a can, but it's going to happen, and it needs to happen. Because let's go past that point. This is going to happen. There's going to be a big conflict and everything else. Protest, blah, 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 right? But what needs to happen is this. Every state needs to be responsible for all their taxation. In other words, none of mine and your tax dollars goes into any federal funding except maybe a carefully controlled thing like highways, you got to drive on the interstates, things like that. But really, if you took away the federal control of it, each state could handle the cost, maybe using the same contractor, say coming from Florida, from Alabama to Mississippi, Louisiana, on something like I-10 or something. You want to have the same contractor so you have a uniform construction project, but let each state handle it. Then the governors and the mayors, like we're seeing in Minnesota and California and several other libtard states, they are responsible for their own construction projects. Not only that, their own welfare, their own food stamp, all of the fraud that we're being shown now, guys, would be back down into the governors and the mayor, and then on down to each county supervisors. As far as how the funds are distributed and collected. So this may be, and Trump is also talking about, before I forget, taking out Powell out of the Federal Reserve, getting the interest rates down and things like that. But a lot is moving. And so I think Trump learned a lot of lessons in that first 4 years, especially after all the lawfare that was waged against him in the 4 years after that. And so now and I'm one of the ones, I have to admit, I'm complaining about Pam Bundy and some of the justice that needs to be shown and come forward. But he's got 3 more years. And if this is the move that he's making, then that's wonderful, guys. And a lot of people are complaining. They're looking at a glass half full. Half empty instead of half full. And complaining, but a lot of those are trolls. We know that. Anyway, I think what we're going to see because of this, and it should be, like my state, your state, we're responsible for the federal funds that are being ripped off. And the reason for that is I feel like a victim, and we are victims. I'm forced to pay taxes. We have our own company. We pay taxes. We never get a tax refund. We are always paying a couple $1,000 a month. And then it goes to projects like the fraud in Minnesota or California or Chicago or now in Maine, New York. Then I want to be taken out of that equation totally, don't you guys? If these states are going to allow that crap to go on, then that state is responsible for it. Then that state's voters are responsible for getting together and taking out the corruption. Not me and you. And that will be a deadly blow to the deep state's maneuvering, because take away the federal tax dollars. Trump has said he wanted to get rid of the IRS because it was put in place to initially, the way the government paid its bills was through tariffs, which Trump is trying to go back to now. Then when that didn't work, when we got some weak-kneed presidents in that didn't have the you-know-what to tariff the countries, they started taxing us. And the Federal Reserve came into place, the IRS, all of that, which has been if you think about how did the Somalis, how did all these states get the money to begin with? Our tax dollars. Where do our tax dollars originate from? Our bill from the damn IRS. So really, if you think about it, they are supposed to control the money, right? They're collecting it. They are responsible. You can blame the mayors and the governors and all of that. But Powell is about to go out. Trump's already put him on notice. But those are the people. If you're going to collect it from me, you're responsible for it. So Powell and that group, you're responsible. They need to take the IRS building, crush it with big machines into rubble, and do something else with that property. The IRS needs to be abolished totally. And I think that's been the big problem, guys, is a one nation system. We don't need that. We don't need a one world system. And let the states deal with everything except possibly help with the interstates and, of course, military. That needs to be united all together. But the rest of it, separated. Do not take the money from, in our case, Mississippi, in our area, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas. Don't take our money to send to a libtarded, retarded state and city. There's where the corruption lies. Wake up, America. Wake up, Trump. And I think Trump is awake, and he's doing the right thing. But this is the key to stopping the one world system and the demonic takeover of our nation. The saying, President Trump says the federal government will halt any payments to sanctuary jurisdictions, those localities and states that refuse to cooperate with the Immigration and Customs Enforcement beginning next month, just a couple of weeks away. Now that, again, cooperation with ICE has to do with letting people out of jail that ICE is supposed to be picking up, or hiding them from ICE, or hiring protesters to block ICE on the roads and get their people killed that they've been training, because the people that are training them and giving them the money, they're far away from the devastation. So they're using, I hate to say it, but useful idiots to get their job done, and we're seeing them get shot. And guys, we watched some of this meeting in Detroit today live, if you were watching our live stream, but it says, speaking at the Detroit Economic Club on Tuesday, Trump announced that his administration would be cutting off federal money to sanctuary jurisdictions for their attempt to impede ICE from enforcing federal immigration laws. And guys, I think we're going to see a big turnover of the opinion from governors and mayors when that money gets cut off. Starting February 1st, we're not making any payments, he said, to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities, because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of who? The American citizens. Exactly. And it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems that come. So we're not making any payment to anybody that supports sanctuary. Father in heaven, put a hand on Trump and pat him on the head. because this is the most simple um, explanation you could ever hear and the most simple uh, way to straighten it out. Continues, it said, it is unclear which funds and grants would be cut off by the Trump administration or which sanctuary jurisdictions, but the DOJ has listed more than 30 cities, counties, and states that it classifies as these sanctuary jurisdictions. The City for Immigration Study, or excuse me, the Center for Immigration Studies, though, has listed well over 100 sanctuary jurisdictions that work to stop ICE agents from taking custody of criminal illegal aliens. At the same time, guys, with our money. Do you realize how important this may be the most important move that the Trump administration has made as far as here in this country ever? And what a wake-up call. And guys, they should not pay another dime to any of these states till they refund like at least 15 years or 20 years of the fraudulent money that they've taken out of mine in your pocket. Because we've struggled for years to keep our taxes paid, never getting a refund, getting punished for having a good business. For it to go to Somalia, fraud from everybody in the nation. But California, you're not getting anymore. Minnesota, you're not getting anymore. New York, you're cut off. Maine, Chicago, you're cut off in just 2 weeks. Suck it up because you deserve it. And the people that, listen, let me back up just a moment. There's a lot of people that are involved in these cities that did not vote for it, but because we had corrupt voting, they had no choice. So here at this point, guys, the best thing I can tell you to do is get the hell out of those cities. Get somewhere where you're free. Nothing's easy. Life is not easy. There is not a cheat code for your life. And it's all about a struggle, and it's about whether or not you can handle the struggle. Can you get out of one of those cities like that? Well, it's a lot easier to just sit here and watch it go broke. Watch the chaos on the streets. Watch TV. And the ones that have that attitude will be the ones that are trapped. Because now that the funding's cut off, that's a good thing to me and you. But to these locations, guys, it's going to be hell on wheels, just like the movies. Escape from New York, Escape from L.A., the Mel Gibson Mad Max movies. Because what they've done, the Democrats have created a monster that they think they can control. But we're seeing more and more each day that that's not happening. And so what happens with that Frankenstein monster they created when they no longer have the money to keep it satisfied? When that beast is now hungry, they will eat their own. So I'm telling you right now, if you're in Phoenix, which is a hellhole, you're in D.C., New York, hellhole, Chicago, Minneapolis, and everybody talks about being prepared for the end times. You better get rid of everything you've got, like some people I know that are very smart have done, and find a little spot in the middle of nowhere, even if it's you start out with a camper and build a home, if you even have that much time. The main problem and the main concern is now to get away from these cities that are now being defunded, and the criminals will be allowed to take over. Even if Trump puts in the Insurrection Act, it will not be enough troops to spread out from city to curb the chaos that's going to be created by this new law. But it's like a purging fire. It has to be done. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. Again, please, if you have any way to get out of the situation that these 30 plus cities and 100 different sanctuary jurisdictions are going to incur, do that as quickly as possible. Be thinking about it. I don't know what else to tell you, because all hell is about to break loose.